Previously on A Body in Progress.
Better naked. Well, 50th anniversary. You have two options at this point. You can consider me a self-indulgent narcissist and turn the video off, or watch the third episode when it comes up. Okay, we need to move on from, where were we? I get them confused. Charleston, West Virginia, to Charlottesville, Virginia. Although I slept in my car in Virginia that night. It wasn't until May 11th that I got up and got to Charlottesville. And I got on my phone again, and I looked for a park, and I found one called Market Square, Market Street. I'll have to look up the precise name again. I don't have it written here. I have a camera intro for that, but I'll get to that in just a second. I just drove to this place, and I pulled up, not knowing anything. When I got on Google Maps this morning to find a park in Charlottesville, Virginia, in which to do my push-ups, I had no idea where I'd end up. I found one on the satellite view called the Market Street Park. It looked neat, tidy, right in the middle of the city, small, quiet. It is indeed quiet. There aren't a lot of people walking around to make me feel self-conscious about looking ridiculous in public. But it's also surrounded by gorgeous architecture, and it's beautiful and green. It also has a statue of Robert E. Lee, and in 2021 that is actually a very controversial topic. I didn't realize just how controversial until someone passing through the park just now told me exactly where I was standing. It turns out this is the epicenter of all of the uproar over the past 3 or 4 years about Confederate statues and the desire to tear them down, replace them with newer, more progressive symbols of America. I have my opinions on that. I'm not going to get into it here, but either way, I like statues. It's impressive. So yeah, I did my push-ups here. To this day, even though they worked hard to get the graffiti off of the stone base and off of the statue, there is still some there. You can still see remnants of it. Although, actually, I say to this day, I'm recording this in February of 2022, And at this point, that statue has now come down entirely. I forget which group, but the city decided to go ahead and give it to a group that wanted to melt it down and turn it into something else. So much for the BLM claim that we don't want to destroy these statues. We just want to put them aside, put them in a museum somewhere and keep them safe. No, they want to get rid of the statues. And I'm about to get political, so we'd better move on. I will throw this in. I want to throw this in while I'm thinking of it. And this is totally off the cuff. We hear so much, and in 2020 especially we heard about it, and we're still hearing about just the racism across this country, just racism everywhere, racism. I had a great trip, and on that trip, as I stopped in restaurants and convenience stores and gas stations, I had conversations, because they were workers and people passing by, I had conversations with a lot of black people, and we all had smiles on, and we all had a good time. I really think, my experience on this trip tells me that all of this shouting about the evil racism in America is being done by a few people, and most of us are getting along just fine. I really hope that's true. That's the vibe I got on this trip. I had a great time meeting people of all different ethnicities and races, and yeah, it was just such fun. May 11th was a busy day because I knew I wanted to get a hotel in Baltimore, but I also knew I was leaving the next day, so I had to get done what I was going to get done and get it done quickly. So from Virginia, I drove straight on up through Maryland to Delaware and stopped really quick in Wilmington at a place called Brandywine Park. We're going right to the footage here. It's just a park. It's a very nice park, but no historical commentary, nothing to really say here. I quickly got my 50 push-ups. Yeah, that's a nice little park. Some of it was under construction, but there it is, just right in the heart of Wilmington. The state of Pennsylvania was on my list. It was part of the plan for this trip, but the day was already going so fast, and I really wanted to get to one specific destination. So even though I was this close, and I think the highway through may even, maybe not, but it's the plan was to just pop up into Philadelphia or whatever's in that corner there, and then pop right back down and keep going. And I looked at the day and I looked at the time and I went, never mind. So I continued on to my ultimate destination for the day, or my ultimate push-up destination for the day, Atlantic City. It would have been easy enough for me to just pop over the border, do my push-ups there in the southwest quarter of New Jersey, and then go back and get a hotel in Baltimore. But I wanted to go all the way to Atlantic City for two reasons. One is that years ago, as a teenager, I was part of a song and dance group. We were headquartered in Connecticut, where I lived, but every summer they went down to the Atlantic City boardwalk and performed their musical numbers on the boardwalk, out there in the sun with the noise of the ocean, to raise money for the Salvation Army. So we had the red buckets on either side of us, and we would perform right there on the boardwalk. It was really a lot of fun. So I wanted to go back there and just see that area because I was so close anyway. I wanted to go see that again. The other reason that I wanted to go to Atlantic City is because I knew that Dominic, one of the members of my bodybuilding network, where I am also a member and who I consider a good online friend, lives there. And I actually managed to get a hold of him before the trip and say, hey, I'm going to be in New Jersey. Do you want to just meet and say hi? Because we know each other well, and we've known each other since 2014 without ever meeting, and this was a chance. And he said, sure, that would be great. But from the moment I landed in South Carolina onward, I didn't hear from him. He wouldn't reply to my texts. He wouldn't reply to my emails. He wouldn't reply to any posts that I made on my bodybuilding network saying, hey, where are you? But to this day, 9 months later, he has yet to let me know exactly why he suddenly went to radio silence on me. So I hope he's watching right now. Yes, I did my 50 push-ups right there on the Atlantic City boardwalk. The wind was really picking up. The clouds were getting darker. I was working fast to try to get this all done in case it decided to really rain hard. It's getting a little rainy out, and I don't have anything to cover my camera except maybe this sweatshirt, so I'll just have to put up with it. Oh, I hate walking around in just a tank top. And now we come to quite possibly the most monumental and important part of the trip. Wawa. When I was a teenager living in New England, I discovered and fell in love with Entenmann's chocolate chip cookies. Little silver dollar-sized, pure bites of heaven. And then we moved to Oregon, and I discovered I could not find them in the grocery stores. I wrote to the company and asked, are these cookies available out here? And they wrote back and said, no, we don't market them there. That's the closest I've ever come to a lawsuit. Anyway, one of the other places I found that I could get them regularly was when I was in New Jersey with the song and dance group, the New Dawn Singers, and every night after our stint on the Atlantic City Boardwalk, we would stop by the local Wawa and pick up snacks and desserts for the night, and I would always get an entire box of Entenmann's chocolate chip cookies. Always, because they were gone by night's end. I didn't have leftovers for the next day. And now here I am, back in New Jersey after 20 years, and I am about to see if the Atlantic City Wawa has Entenmann's chocolate chip cookies. I'm fine. Yep.
Are you videotaping?
No.
Okay.
No, just didn't want to leave it in the car.
Okay.
Not knowing how long it would be before I ever saw another store that sold Entenmann's chocolate chip cookies, I bought 5 boxes. 3.5 of them made it onto the airplane the next day. Good morning, Baltimore! On the morning of the 12th, the last day of my trip, I was able to connect with one more online friend, Nick Eddings. I believe I've mentioned him before. He is the Instagram follower who got me my first Tiger t-shirt. And so when I realized that I was going to be in the city he lived in, I just mentioned that, said, I'm glad to say hi if you want to. He said, sure. So we met and said hi. And he's the one who suggested Federal Hill as the place to do my 50 push-ups for Maryland. So that's where we went. And it's a hill, and it's got a beautiful overlook of Baltimore. And since Nick was there, I asked him if he was comfortable running a video camera, and he said sure, and I think he did a pretty good job. So there we have the 50 push-ups for Maryland. I'm going home now. And with that, I find myself at the airport in Baltimore, ready to fly home and wrap up this edition of Big Tiger Adventures. I'm going to put the camera away now into my carry-on, unless something fantastic happens in Seattle at my layover. This will be the last that I speak to you live from the trip. The rest will be commentary from my home office. And so thank you for joining me, and also always remember the white zone is for immediate loading and unloading of passengers only. There is no stopping in the red zone. After several hours of flying and at least one layover, I don't remember the details anymore, I finally returned home. 14 more states on my list of 50 push-ups in 50 states. A very fun trip. Got to see my brother, got to see college friends, got to see a total of five friends, 4 of which I had only known online until that trip. So that was all good and fun. I'm glad I did it. But I'll tell you, I was so glad to get home and go through those revolving doors at the Redmond airport and see my loved ones once again.